Good to go. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Marilyn McDonald with Bridgewater Conservation. I'm the chair. I'm going to open up tonight's meeting. It is 5:30 on July, what is it, 22nd? 23rd. We are going to have our next meeting on August 13th. And before I read into the agenda, I just want to give you a little notice. Present tonight is myself, Marilyn McDonald, Chair. Also present is Vice Chair Laurie Keene. Members, Eileen Prisco is with us virtually, correct? We have her online virtually. Member Deb Johnson and Agent Dan Levesque. This is being recorded by YouTube, which can usually be seen within 48 hours. Just so you understand what Bridgewater Conservation does, before I read into the agenda, Bridgewater Conservation is both state and governed by local bylaws with rules and regulations along with performance standards to ensure that any project has minimal impact on our surrounding wetlands. Bridgewater Conservation has jurisdiction within 100 feet of any BVW and 200 feet of any riverfront. Our bylaws can be located on our webpage. What's going to happen first is the applicant will present. Once the applicant presents, we then open it to our board members along with our agent to ask any questions on the presentation. We then gladly open it up, any public hearing to the public. They have 3 minutes, please keeping it to wetland questions only. And we encourage the public to talk as we often pick up different items. The board's either going to do one of two things. They're either going to close the hearing if they feel they have enough information, or they're going to continue it to the next one. Again, our next meeting is August 13th. Once there is an order of condition signed, there is a 10-day business appeal before any order becomes final, and any appeal must be submitted to Mass DEP in writing. That being said, so we understand how we roll, I'm going to roll right into our agenda. We have a call to order, which we just did, public hearings. We have old business, notice of intent off Summer Street, Old State Farm, map 90, lot 999A. Applicant is Justin Casanova Davis with Silver Engineering. We do have a DEP number of SC 116-1581. We have a notice of intent 550 Kerr Street, map 78, lot 20. Applicant representative Kevin Bumpus with Silver Engineering, DP number file SC 116-1580. We have a request for applicability of 45 Harvard Street, map 32, lot 101. Applicant representative Jim and Corey Lay Rowan and Silver Engineering. We have no new business tonight. And we do have several items under conservation business. And again, please, where this is not public comment, feel free to email our agent if you have any questions. We have 1719 Plum Street, Wells 10 A and B update discussion. We have Great Hill Drive, 0 Plymouth Street, BSU cease and desist update. We have 48 Flagstone Place enforcement update. We have Bridgewater Rain and Sand and Stone cease and desist notice of intent discussion. We have 16 Wood Street enforcement update. And we have town wetland protection bylaws updates. No minutes, and then for adjournment. So with that being said, we are now open. I'm going to roll right into notice of intent of off Summer Street, Old State Farm, map 90, lot 999A. Applicant representative Justin Casanova Davis with Silver Engineering presenting. You are open.
Good evening, Rebecca from Silver Engineering. This is a continued hearing, and we at the last hearing discussed everything looked really good. Dan had flagged everything. We reviewed the work that was going to be proposed. We had no problems. And then the issue of a replication of a 2-to-1 was brought up, and the rules and regs don't necessarily call out a required 2-to-1. And so because this is a town benefit and a town project, we're asking to keep it to the regulated 1-to-1, where we're actually just disturbing a little bit and putting everything right back where it was with the trails. If the commission has.
That makes sense to me because
Please unmute.
recall when it happened. Sorry. I recall when it happened way back when, but if it didn't get put into the document.
And last week I was all for it. I'm like, yeah, that's why would it be anything?
I would never do that to you.
But I went
purposely.
with it. And
No.
then I'm like, wait, I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Yep, we will be updating bylaws very shortly.
We will be updating, but
No
until
doubt.
then,
But until
it's
then,
got to be a
let's
1-to-1. Yep.
let it fly. So at this point, if there's other questions, comments, concerns,
No, I had no issue. She brought up a good point. It's obviously not in our bylaws, so therefore it's not in our, it is what it is. Deb,
I'm good with it.
Dan,
I have nothing to add. And then Eileen's online.
and what? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I gotta remember that. Eileen, any comment on the State Trail Farm?
Just that I remember the same thing, Laurie, and it's not in the bylaws, but exactly. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that.
We
Yep.
can't force it, so.
Nope.
other Things to add.
Okay, well, I
Yep.
know what your homework will be.
That's right.
All right. So is the plan standing? Do we have that, or is there adjustments you're still making?
no, there was no adjustments.
Okay.
The only outstanding issue was a requirement for that, and if we
And
don't need that,
we
the
don't need that.
plans are
So
still as they
then,
are.
while this is still an open hearing, I will ask if there's anybody in that wide audience over there. If there's any questions, I don't see anybody raising their hand. So therefore, Dan, let me know if there's anybody in the public that has a comment to make.
Sure. Anyone on Zoom, if you have a comment regarding this, please either raise your hand or type a message in the chat. Not seeing anything. We're
Okay.
good to go.
All right, then, like I said earlier, I appreciated everybody's collaboration with this, to put the support letters. I thought the environmental structures going in were very friendly to the environment, so have enough information and is going to motion to, please, somebody motion for closing tonight's hearing.
I'll make a motion to close.
And I'll second it.
All right, here in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to have to do roll call. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Eileen? Eileen, roll call on State Farm?
Aye.
Okay, and myself is an aye. So we are officially closed on that filing. Chair will now entertain a motion, excuse me, for approval of notice of intent off Summer Old State Farm Map 90, Lot 999A. Standard order of conditions. No, I don't have any specials unless anybody thinks they have them, but I don't.
I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions.
I'll second that.
All right, here in a second, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call vote for approval. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Eileen?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Thank you. You are closed and approved.
Thank you so much.
All right. Again, thank everybody that was involved. All right, moving right along, we have a notice of intent on 550 Curve Street, map 78, lot 20. Applicant is Kevin Bumpus with Silver Engineering. We have the DEP file number, which I mentioned earlier. I understand this is a continuance that Dan, you can read in the record for me. I do not have a copy in front of me.
Correct. We do have a continuance request. Can read off.
Do you want me to share it, or do you want to just read it? Or can I just read it?
If you have it in front of you, you can read it. as
July
long as we read it
21,
into the record.
2026, dear commission members, on behalf of our client, as Silver Engineering Associates respectfully requests that the meeting scheduled for Thursday, July 23rd, 2026 be continued to August 13th, 2026 to allow time for SEA to respond to the third-party review prior to the next meeting. Sincerely, Rebecca.
Okay, Chair would entertain a motion, please, to continue 550 Curve Street, map 78, lot 22. Our next meeting, August 13th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Here in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Eileen?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Very good. We'll see you on the 23rd. No, I'm sorry, today's the 23rd. 13th,
13th.
and that's not Friday. Okay, rolling again. We're going into request for applicability of 45 Harvard Street, map 32, lot 101. Applicant is Jim and Corey Lay Rowan and Silver Engineering. As you know, there's also a cease and desist that's going out that's not part of this. We're treating that separately. And we just had a few questions on that with past work. So Rebecca, I'll have you fill us in.
I can put this picture up again if you'd like.
Yeah, we need that up.
I can do this with two screens and screen sharing. And am I able to do? Dun, 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 dun. Sorry. Okay, sharing is caring. Screen 2, proposed addition plan. Okay, sorry. Ta-da. Okay, so the last time we were here, we presented an RDA, a request for determination of applicability for a proposed garage that was outside the 50, barely in the 100-foot, within an existing paved area with an existing lawn. And having looked at the plan, it came to our attention that some activities in the 100-foot buffer were not previously permitted. The homeowner has acknowledged that it was not previously permitted. The homeowner has acknowledged the request to do an after-the-fact filing if he was no filing found, and he has agreed. So as of this moment, we still request the determination to be voted negative and wish to tell the commission that we will come back with probably the same plan, but with a notice of intent to discuss the previous activities in the 100-foot buffer.
Okay, I mean, I'm more one for one-stop shopping, but certainly that's in the purview. You guys, if you
Well-
want to do it separately,
Well, because we already filed this and paid the fees for this, so then we'd prefer this, and this has a zoning application attached to it, so we'd prefer this and that to be separate, because
Okay.
there's also the cease and desist.
I don't have an issue with that. Again, we'll just make sure we, my thing would be the condition that you come back on that,
Correct.
on that RDA. So at this point, I'll start with the agent who actually went out there. And then from my understanding, there was no issues in the wetland area, just our findings that whether it was permitted or not.
That's correct. For 45 Harvard Street, on the site visit, the only issues, the wetland flags were all found. Those looked good. The only issues were the vegetation and yard clippings that were dumped into the wetland and close to the buffer, in the buffer zone, which we have discussed issuing the cease and desist on that dumping. I have not gotten around yet to officially sending that letter out, but it's my understanding from previous discussions that the property owner has already been made aware of the situation and the requirement to clean this area, so they've already begun that process. I will still get the letter out. As far as the garage goes, the proposed garage, and the removal of that existing retaining wall, I have no issues with that.
All right, very good. Deb?
I'm good.
Laurie?
I'm good too.
Eileen, any issues?
Um,
Okay.
No,
Again, myself, no. So Chair at this time would entertain a motion, please, to close the, I'm sorry, before I close, is there anybody in the audience or anybody on Zoom that has a question on this filing?
Not seeing anything.
All right, seeing none, Chair would entertain a motion, please, to close the RDA on 45 Harvard Street, map 32, lot 101.
I'll make a motion to close.
And I'll second it.
All right, here in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Eileen?
aye.
And myself as an aye. We are officially closed. Chair would entertain a motion, please, for a negative determination of an RDA on 45 Harvard Street, map 32, lot 101.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Here in a second, any further discussion? The only discussion I have on that is the condition that they do come back with the other two items. That'll be on that RDA, so, yeah, that was my condition. All right. So, roll call vote on that. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Eileen?
Aye.
And myself as an aye.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very, very much. All right, we're going to start rolling right into conservation business. Again, if you have anything to add, please email us and we entertain anything. We are starting with 1719 Plymouth Street, Wells 10A and B, update discussion. We do have our DPW, Mr. Azu here. Before I have Azu come up, I did receive the results of the testing that was required. It is not in the scope of Apex to do any reading of this. MECO did collect the samples, and I was able to take a quick look before coming in. And I have to say that, unfortunately, this is not what the commission asked for. This is not what I asked for. I was out there that day, and Dan, you heard me multiple times. I needed a standard Tier 1 RCS1 with minimal detection limits, and it looks like that's not what they ran. So the issues I have, Azu, before you come up, so we can make this and correct this, is, again, the ask was for a standard Tier 1 RCS1 soils with minimal detection levels. This was not run. When I looked at it quickly, it took me a second. I was like, oh, it's in micro to kilo, no problem, understand the conversion. I am familiar with reading soil tables, so what's missing is, on top of that, on that ask, is they only ran 18 metals. On the standard Tier 1, we need the full panel of 14 metals for MCP. So we're missing our VOCs, we're missing our full panel of 14 metals, PCBs. pH, while it's not a chemical or constituent, is very important because it, below a 5 or above a 9 can mean that it migrates certain constituents, so that's important. There was no conductance of flash points. So these detection levels were not set at minimal detection level, and that's what we need to determine anything in that soil, if it, meets criteria to stay on site, or if there's anything in there that has to be moved off. There was some chromium stuff that I was looking at, but again, not being looked at with MDL, I can't determine that. So unfortunately, the data collection looks like 6, 16, 26, which most holding times for a lab is about a month. So you know, I'm not here to put expense on the town, but I'm also here to make sure that it's safe on where those wells are. And so we are unfortunately going to have to do another run. You know, but I'll have a zoo come up and do it, but at this point, it's not what the ask was, and the ask is an important ask, and it just gives us the true picture out there, and it was a minimal ask. So, before I have a zoo come up, well, actually, a zoo, if you want to present, Dan, we'll add, and then we'll go around.
I don't really have much to add. I can say I was there that day and did hear you asking for that standard testing. I don't know if we got any of the conversation in writing, but at least I can confirm that verbally I've heard you ask for that testing. And then, yeah, with it being such a important location,
Yeah.
the proximity to the wells with the town's drinking water issues, the proximity to the BRS property, and the other matters that we have going on in there, it's a critical site where we need the full scope of information to be able to understand the situation and what's going on. And when it comes to, you know, ensuring community health, community safety and whatnot, I think that this is just, it's not a big ask.
All right. Yeah, and I was right there with him collecting, and you know, I made it known several times. So unfortunately, whether it was a miscommunication or what happened, we need the second part of that data to be conclusive. So, Azu, do you have any updates for us with notice of intent or anything like that? Do you want to come up to the mic and introduce yourself so people can hear you, hon?
Thank you, Zertino, DPW Director. I guess you probably fall in the line of not communicating very well. If you could, Dan, if you could shoot me an email. I heard what the chair said. So if you can shoot me an email even before you leave, then I can correlate that and speak with the company tomorrow morning so we can
Awesome.
address that. Yeah,
And
that's
then,
fine.
I mean, hopefully keep our fingers crossed. We're a
Yeah.
few days past the
Yeah,
16th.
yeah.
Maybe the lab still has it.
Yeah.
You know, we could
Just
look out that
yeah,
way.
so send me an email right away.
Mhm.
We'll do the 14 panels. But I do think that what they, just send me that.
Yep.
It says you want tier 1 and then the full panel on
With
MCP.
MDL, with
MC.
minimal detection level.
Yeah. All right, that'd be good.
And then I know you're working on the notice of intent, so we'll
Yeah,
keep,
we are
we'll
working on
keep
notice
rolling.
of
This
intent.
isn't
I'm
a
sure
separate.
that'll be part of the submittal that
Yep.
we'll do with the notice of intent anyway.
Okay,
All
all
right.
right. So, okay, great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right, we'll keep rolling. Thank you.
All right.
All right, we are going to now keep going. We have Great Hill Drive, 0 Plymouth Street, BSU cease and desist. So,
Could I ask very quickly, just
so-
because this
I'm
one
sorry,
is,
I didn't hear you.
this property is just going to be a longer discussion, and we still have two silver related
Oh,
properties.
sure.
I was wondering if we could just,
I would entertain a
Jump over
motion to take it, to take administrative items out of context. We'll go into, is it, where do you want, BRS?
I mean, technically 46 flags.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so she's 46 foot. All right, so can I have a motion, please, just to take conservation business out of agenda order?
I'll make- Go ahead,
I'll make a motion, take it out of order.
and I'll second it.
Here in a second, any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. Eileen?
Aye.
All right. Okay, so we'll start with 48 Flagstone Place enforcement update. Dan, I'll
46.
give you that.
Sure. 46 Flagstone Place. You know, we had been attempting to get in touch with the HOA, some miscommunications between the proper email address. But with Eileen's help, I was able to get the proper email address. I did make contact, and I heard back this morning from, I believe her name is Holly Ridge, the HOA chair, and she told me that, you know, she's willing to help. I had told her sort of just the commission was looking for an update. We had heard that there might be some sort of civil dispute between abutters regarding getting work done whose property is, you know, involved in the matter. And she said, and this is just off the top of my head, I believe something along the lines of that she had been unfamiliar with any disputes between the different properties, but that if I could fill her in more on this information, that she's happy to get involved and help get it sorted out. So I have not had a chance yet today to get back in touch with her,
I wonder why.
as we were out for most of the day. But I plan to reach back out tomorrow.
Okay, well, you know what? It's progress.
Yes, progress, forward progress.
So we'll take it. Anybody got a question for Dan on that? Are we good?
Oh.
All right. Everybody, thank you for your help on that. All right, what's the next one that we got Rebecca with? It's Bridgewater Rain and Stone, Sand and Stone, cease and desist, notice of intent for discussion. At this point, I'm going to announce that I am not further recusing myself. Both myself and Dan had checked in with the State of Ethics along with our own town council here, and they find that I am not at an appearance of conflict. I have filed a disclosure with the town of a non-appearance of conflict. So at this point, I'm resuming on BRS. It remains under discussion. So what I'll start with the update is we're on site today with both wetlands from the Mass DEP of wetlands and solid waste. We were out there for a couple of hours today, discussion of several issues and collaborating on how to get this resolved and the proper way that we'll be approaching everything. So it was great to have everybody out there, you know, Mass DEP coming in with collaboration and, you know, with the joint stuff. So I'll go right down the line. I'll have Dan incorporate what, you know, anything further. Laurie was with me out there and so we had Silver representatives also. I'll have Rebecca come up afterwards, but we'll have the agent update also.
Sure. Yeah, we got out there today with bunch of different groups, and it was I think a very productive day. I know that solid waste wanted to see certain parts of the site. They wanted to see the berms. That's their particular place of interest, involving the potential composting process that's going on and whether or not it meets regulations. I can't speak for them, but I know that they are going to be further looking into that on their end. And then with DEP Wetlands, they are serving sort of as a supportive role for the commission. So while they will be doing their own internal discussions and then reaching out, they made it clear that we are still leading the effort here and that they don't want to get in our way, but that they are ready and willing to assist when we need. And it was my first time out to the site, and I believe that, you know, just based on the files accumulated by the previous agent, Caitlin Putt, that was able to get eyes on the clearing of the parts of the property which were previously wetlands. So clearing and filling. It's a rather large area, a lot of space, and there's sort of a lot of up in the air thoughts from the property owner, Mr. Aruda, as to, you know, whether or not this had been previously greenlit back in the day, whether or not that actually holds up to any sort of regulation. I don't know. We're looking into it. But I do believe that moving forward, we should continue with the process of a wetland, either replication or restoration or a combination of the two. I know that Silva is planning to submit their notice of intent with this sort of proposed wetland remediation package, but I believe that they are also sort of waiting on the commission to determine what they are necessarily looking for. But because this is a, you know, multi-departmental sort of action, it's going to take some time, but I think that after today, things are on a good track forward to really make some positive progress, get this all sorted out. I know that Mr. Aruda really wants to see this all sorted out the proper way. He made it clear that he wants to cooperate with the commission, with DEP, and, you know, not cause any issues moving forward. So I think that this should be a productive issue as we, you know, just day to day, one step at a time, not trying to rush anything, because with it being such a large issue, want to make sure that nothing gets missed and nothing's done improperly.
It is a large issue, and again, it was great to have the collaboration, but just to be clear that, you know, depending on all the final findings that come in, Mass DEP might have to be involved above local, but at this point, our approach is local with collaboration of DEP. So just to be clear, I'll have a list of things that I know I'm going to want to see. We all know what that's going to be, so. Deb?
Yeah, I am not familiar with this site at all, so I really have nothing to add to it.
Okay. It might not be, I mean, it might not be a bad idea to go down there at some point.
Yep, for
Um,
sure.
Yep. Eileen, I know, was down there the last time with Caitlin, so she's been on site.
Mhm.
You were on site with me today. So, yeah. So at that point, I think the commission has stated what they're stating at this point. Eileen, any input from you?
No, nothing new, no.
Okay. Rebecca, any update from you at this point that you'd like to make?
Have some of these handouts shown in the record, just for the sake of letting the rest of the world know what we displayed while we were there. So I'll share my screen real quick, go through the little slides that we had. I got to think again how I did this. I'm sorry. Buttons. Then, because for the rest of the world, they only see berms. Okay, go here, share the screen. Pick this screen right here. Okay. And it's on the screen, right? Now I need to see it so I can point. So these are some of the handouts we had with us while we were there. And just for a sake of going over for anybody who doesn't know, the entrance to BRS is right over here and my little cursor is pointing, right? And so this is his new building that this little blip is, I should zoom in. Right? I did it, Dan. Okay, so this is his new office and everybody comes in and out with a lot of traffic. So we ended up driving all the way around and here. So we started with with the waste, solid waste, looking at the berm. The berm does go along the north side in this area here and along the south, adjacent to the well property. The area in question seems to be what is right here, where it was once wooded and potentially had some wetlands due to the topography at the time and the long history. Okay, this is the area that is now in question. So the long history of this is it's been a gravel pit for a very long time. There's been a lot of terrain. There's been a lot of haul roads over time. And the owner is suggesting that this area, although it appears it could have been a wetlands, was probably there just because of the way the terrain was left and how the haul roads were left unattended and they bermed up over time. So it's a product of the environment that this site has. He's not contending that this isn't what happened, but in his sense of feeling, it was just part of working the site and this is what happened. So this little area, this big area here, and the other little blip that is on the GIS turns out to be just about 2 acres. So the questions that remain for SEA to be able to do a notice of intent would be 1, mitigation or replication. And I went to the wrong one. Dang it. So let's go back to 2025. We don't know what DEP for the wetland side is going to say. That's fine. We're not waiting for them. We're actually waiting for you. What was the commission hoping for to see? Are they hoping to see that the wetlands that were once right here in the middle of all this new activity gets put back, though it may not have been a viable wetland area? Or can we consider putting it in an area that can be a viable wetland area near some drainage areas that are flowing and productive to the environment? That's my first question. Doesn't have to be an answer today.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, I can say I need a lot more information
Understood.
yep.
So this is some of the things we need before we can actually do the NOI. I don't know where to have it flagged to find a suitable area. If it needs to go right back where it was, okay, well, that's an option as well. Although, so that's the fundamental question right there. I need to know, are we putting it back where it was, or will the commission take a 2-to-1? Heck, we can probably offer a 3-to-1 if we had to. I don't want to, but as a, peace giving to this and not put it back where it was. Because it wasn't really a viable. It was in the middle of what might not have been anything but a ditch, a haul road that went wrong.
We don't know that yet.
We don't have the history back in the
We
70s,
don't
the
have that in
40s.
yet, so I can't.
This site has a long history. That is the only real update I have. Yes, we walked, we saw the berm. It was very tall. We are waiting for the commission to decide how they would like to proceed before filing the notice of intent. And then we would send Ken or a botanist to go flag the appropriate areas that are suitable for a replication, if that's the case, or flag the area that was once with some borings and figure out where it once was and put it back. So,
I mean, we do know that the past boring showed that there was hydric soils. It showed clay, which is not native to that area. So there's still a lot of stuff that I know now that I need to get information on, and we'll go, we'll keep this on until we
Understood.
give you the answer
That's
on
fine.
how to file.
more than
And
willing.
we'll, again, it is a collaboration with Mass DEP,
Mhm.
which we appreciate their collaboration. So we will thoroughly keep this on the agenda and keep you posted.
Excellent.
And I will be doing a lot of homework on this.
Yes, excellent.
Anybody
Um,
else have anything for Rebecca on that note?
I would also just like to add there's the wetlands clearing and filling, and there's also the encroachment onto town land,
Yes.
which has to be taken into account. So that just is another aspect.
Busy out there. Yeah. Not saying we can't like come up with stuff, but it's nothing that's gonna, I can't tell you tonight.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
can't tell you either, because the encroachment to the town was under my understanding was it was told to be there, so that's a different beast for me. I'll work on the wetland part.
I don't go on hearsay what they say, but.
I'm gonna just go on the wetland part.
I'm a permit girl.
There's a property line dispute. We'll figure that out somehow.
So we'll just keep you on the agenda till we can give you those answers, and
That's
then
fine.
we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Oh, we thank
Love
you for
it.
being in
Thank
attendance
you
on
for
the
taking
sidewalk
me out
today.
of the order. Thank you for taking me
All
out
right.
of the order.
Are
Have a
we,
good
are
night.
we, anything more, Rebecca, on here?
I hogged the whole
I
meeting.
don't believe so, no.
All right, have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
So at this point, Dan, I'll let you pick the next one, because we're already voted to go out of agenda, because
I
we do
mean,
have a little discussion on one item.
Might as well jump back up to Great Hill Drive.
All right, so Great Hill Drive, we're now discussing 0 Plymouth Street, BSU, cease and desist. They did come in last meeting, and there was something that just wasn't sitting right with me when it comes to soils and when it comes to moving stuff around. Assuming that, when I went back and really let everything digest, assuming that 4 inches is hazard enough to move out of town without a manifest, without a profile, didn't sit well. What's underneath there? There's over 10,000 tons there. And then I went out back that one day during the heat wave in flip-flops, and I just couldn't get the look I wanted to more deep in the wetlands and see if there was a connection. So that gut instinct, me and Dan went out there the other day, and I thought Dan profiled stuff very good for, jumping into this in the beginning. And we did find more of impeachments on the wetlands. And Dan, I'm going to let you explain it from there.
Sure. I included one document in the meeting packet, and I'm going to see if I can't pull it up to make it legible on the screen. Let's see. There we go. Share. Okay, so I apologize. I can't seem to rotate this. But we'll start with the image on the left-hand side. This is from Mass Mapper. This is a aerial shot of the area in question. Right in the middle is that sort of small stockpile or landfill of dirt that we have learned is currently being fed from the Bernal Hall project. The dark green blob in the middle is the wetlands based on the Mass Mapper labeling, and these are, of course, just estimated. It's not perfect. I've added 3 points of interest, the purple star, the blue star, and the red star right in the middle. If you can see those, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So these right here. So our purple star is the location where we found a culvert that connects to a drainage ditch that is connected to or placed next to this stockpile of dirt. If you follow the drainage ditch down, you get to this culvert that goes under the road. Crossing the road, we end up at this blue star. This blue star is where the culvert comes out. There's a fence that surrounds this property or this part, a chain link fence, and there's a depression in there where the runoff from this drainage ditch pulls into. If you follow about 15 feet across from where that culvert is, there's actually another culvert. There's a second small tunnel that connects out to where this red star is right here. So when we went out yesterday, Marilyn and I, to the site.
Don't forget Clyde,
Yes,
the dog.
yes. When we went out to the site, we found evidence and appearance of channeling or runneling of stormwater runoff from the stockpile. Now, much of our concern before had been the fact that the stockpile was within the 100-foot buffer zone, and there had not been any paperwork filed to store it there, on top of the fact that the soil is potentially contaminated or hazardous, and the commission would like to see testing of the soil. I had a concern about potential runoff onto the larger spot of the stockpile of dirt. And it was interesting when we got out there post rainstorms from the previous few days that there was very clear evidence of this channeling and runneling, which you can see in these deep grooves. This is just one photo, but it was apparent all over. What you'll notice down here is this large collection of gravel. While there is a small gravel driveway or space at the beginning entrance for trucks to drive up onto, a lot of this you see here is actually the evidence of smaller particle sizes being pulled away. So if you have a healthy mix of particle sizes, a healthy distribution, rainwater or runoff will pull off the smaller sized particles, leaving only the larger cobblestones, leaving you with an accumulation like this. You can see on the left-hand side that there's a pooling of sediment against this heavy equipment, which is an issue in itself. But for the sake of right now, we're just going to follow the runoff. In this photo, you can see a much larger view of this sediment that had been running off. And I have other photos from previous site visits where this is not evident. So this is clearly something that happens in large rainstorms. Of course, based on the aerial photography and based on the photography and facts provided by the DCAM group who came in at the last meeting, this area has been used as a stockpile by BSU for many years. So there's no way to know how often the soil and sediment here have been caught in rainstorms or runoff and leading into this drainage ditch. But based on the fact that we didn't have necessarily a monsoon or anything historical, any strong rainstorm likely could have produced a significant amount of runoff like what's visible in the picture. If you follow this runoff, and this next picture is just an example of what you see, the pooling, the water, the sediment. If we follow this down, you see from this angle, it starts to pool up here and anything can make it out onto the road. And this is a downward slope, a downwards gradient, especially right here. And if you follow my cursor towards that towards that street light on the right-hand side is where the drainage ditch starts behind this vegetation. It's a concrete drainage ditch and leads down to where that purple star was on the aerial photo from earlier. Now, going down that drainage ditch is all of the sediment. And if you connect to the other side where I listed the blue star behind the chain link fence, this is actually a photo through the chain link fence. I could not get down there. We immediately located a large area of sedimentation that had been deposited most likely from this runoff in this rainstorm. Now, I can't say 100% that it's the exact same sediment, but if you follow the trail, which was evident and it was deep, you can infer that this is the same sediment. It's the same color, it's the same size, it's the same consistency, and it makes sense from a physics standpoint. Now, this at first we thought might have been the end of it, but if you follow this ahead where my cursor is off to the right, you can't see it in this photo, is the entrance of another culvert. This culvert extends, this is the backside. So if the light you can see in the through this culvert right here is that previous photo we were just looking at. You can see the chain link fence up top, but you can make your way down here. So that runoff that comes from the stockpile across the street, which has not been tested, runs down the road in the drainage ditch, under the road, through one culvert, through a second culvert, and begins to run off and deposit itself down here as well. This seems to be a significant amount of sedimentation. This is a photo of the other direction. So the opening we were just looking at, I believe, is right off here to the right-hand side. It's not in the photo, but you can see just from right here a large pool of deposited sediment that extends back, many, many feet, and is not something that we're happy to see. This is just the same photo from another angle. I'll zoom out a little bit, too much. And you can just see the culvert opens up right about here, and then we're going to have all of this pooling sediment right here. Now, previously, the folks who came to see us at the last meeting made sure to emphasize the fact that the Conservation Commission does not have jurisdiction over any issues outside of 100 feet from the bordering vegetated wetlands. However, upon this new evidence coming to light that sedimentation from this landfill has potentially been occurring and being deposited within this area, which is about 35 feet from the wetlands, this now brings into attention the fact that the soil and sediment needs to be tested. Because if this landfill and stockpile has been used by BSU for years, such as what they claim, then potential hazardous soil or sediment may have been deposited close to the 25-foot buffer, even farther than that potentially. There's no way to know for years. And so getting that site tested is incredibly important to know if this has potentially been contaminating the wetland, contaminating groundwater supplies, contaminating drinking water supplies. I know that the DCAM folks had argued that if you test the sediment that's next to the road, then it's going to show contamination from cars passing by, trucks passing by. That's totally fine, and that may be the case. However, that's not something that is a rare one-off occurrence. That's a known sort of thing. When you test that soil, you'll be able to match up a panel of exactly where those levels come from. You could test on the other side of the road where soil's not been deposited. If you test anywhere along that roadway as a comparison point, you don't only have to have one point of data. You can have multiple points of data and see if there's a correlation between the soils. So the argument that the soil would be, that the data would be, in error because of the contamination from the roadway doesn't hold up, in my opinion. It can be taken into consideration, but it's not enough evidence or argument to, I think, dissuade the commission from not requiring this testing. With such a large site that's been there for so long, and I don't have it pulled up now, but years and years, I think going back to 2014, which is just where the mapping stopped. It's not that it wasn't there before that. It's just that I didn't have access to photos from before that year, has been used as a site of stockpiling soil. So that's what we found. I believe that this now brings the testing question strongly into the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission and is not something that can really be argued against. We'd love to have the folks from DCAM come back in so we could chat about this and make some progress moving forward just to protect the wetlands, protect the interests of the community, especially the drinking water supplies, and any sort of habitats out there, for the wildlife and everything that lives out there. So I think it was a very good call by Maryland to get out there and do another field visit. Really glad we got out there and found this, just because we want to make sure that everything's done right and we want to make sure that everything's done well. So I pass it along to whoever else wants to add.
So I am so proud of that. Awesome. I mean, you wrapped it up well.
He did.
Quick learner on that, and you presented that extremely to the point of, that that feeling you get when something's still not right here.
Right.
Especially when they pull back about the testing, it doesn't even, you can't put potential contaminated dirt on any site, whether you own it or not. That doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I'd like to, again, have them be brought back in. I believe we just advised it, not voted on it, but I am not on the page of doing an RDA.
No.
No,
Notice
what I'm on the page of is we're gonna get serious. And if I have to bring in a higher level of you-know-who, then so be it if we don't get cooperation. But there is nobody exempt from this. We all have to answer to anything potential contamination, and you have to do the right thing. So, universities, whatever, you still gotta abide by these rules. So what I'd like to see is a letter sent out asking them to come in. And I'm gonna, be very strict on, we need, and the LSP was here that day, but he didn't say anything. I need to know what the profile was that you sent out today. There is so much out there. And just looking at the soils, to me, they're very different soils. We have Boston blue clay. Well, is that native to the Burnell area? Where did that come? Like, they need to do the right thing, and we need to hold them to that. Again, it's going to need to be properly flagged. It's a lot out there. Again, kudos to the way you presented that. I would have been, blah, 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 blah. I just didn't like what I saw. So, feel free to ask, Dan anything, but that's my take. And, they have to do that. So those are, basic stuff. If not, then we might not have jurisdiction, but there are other organizations that do. And he made a great case of how it now
Did.
falls better into our jurisdiction.
Mhm.
And, you just heard me talk about our own town who, we want to make sure that our drinking water and everything's fine and, we're doing the right testing. The same for them. That is not a permitted site to be storing that much soil on, whether it's on your own property or not, and we don't know what's in that soil. End of story. Give us what we need and then we'll work it. But that's my take.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
No, I agree with you 100%. Just seeing those pictures, I was looking at them today. I was horrified.
Yeah, I knew there was a connection somewhere.
Yep.
I'm sure that the evidence of the runoff and sedimentation is still present. So if anyone wanted to swing by, you'd be able to see it just on Great Hill Drive. It's probably still there. And that's
Yeah.
not to mention the storage of the heavy equipment on that site, which is appears to be an old machine. Most likely leaks pretty frequently, and anything from that machine, you saw its location, it's directly in the path of the runoff, is just going to be picked up by all of the water, all of the sediment, and brought right down the drainage ditch with everything else.
Right. So that's always a big no-no. You never park equipment within a resource area, whether you're permanent, you just don't do that. Because again, they leak more things than a human body. So you have to take that precaution. So we'll definitely put that in the letter too, that needs to be more, it shouldn't even be on that site, to be honest with you. When you look at the different, there were stockpiles that were there, not there, not like, it's not sitting well at all. So, I'm retracting the RDA. I want definite full stuff out there and just bring them back in. Laurie, any further intake?
I say everything that you both said, they need to file a notice of intent, bring them back in here. They need to do testing. They need to do flagging, just like anybody else would have
Yep,
to.
just like anybody else. Everybody is held to the same standards.
Right.
Everybody.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
No one gets a pass.
Do it the right way.
Eileen? Eileen, are you still with us? Going once.
Eileen, you are currently muted. Oh, you're good.
Sorry, somehow I lost, my guys for a
Say that again?
few minutes there. And I'm in
You
agreement
able
with
to hear us
everything
on
the commission
discussion with
just
BRS? I mean,
said.
BSU, too many initials.
Yeah,
Okay, any
Yep,
comments that you
yeah.
have on it?
yeah. I did.
Okay. Any
I
comments,
just
Doris?
said I'm in agreement with the commission.
Okay,
Bring them back in.
No,
all right,
nothing
thank you.
to
Okay.
add.
All right, so, do you want to vote on sending out a letter?
If you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. All right, Chair would entertain a motion that we send out another letter to the BSU group, which is Great Hill Drive, 0 Plymouth Street, cease and desist, and add that we would like them to reappear based on our new evidence of finding on another site visit. It's not black and white out there at all.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Hearing a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Deb?
Aye.
Laurie?
Aye.
Eileen? Eileen?
We lost Eileen.
Okay, well, myself as an aye, that's a quorum.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Dan, again, I applaud you. That was a great summary, great work out there.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I have lost my place. We're on 16 Wood
Wood
Street?
Street, yep.
Okay. I believe we haven't had a chance to reach out to the town attorney on our next move because we're
Correct.
getting no response from them.
Yes, the certified mail, I can't remember if we discussed this last meeting, has come back from the post office as not being picked up. So the next step is reaching out to the town attorney to figure out how to send somebody over to in person deliver the enforcement and fine and make sure that this gets taken care of.
Okay, all right, we'll keep that on the agenda.
Yep.
And some good updates on the town wetland bylaws, which I will let Dan take the lead on that and give you the update.
Sure. We reached out to two different organizations for advice or estimations on the wetland bylaw update estimated cost of working with a third party to get this done. From the first group we had reached out to, this was Horsley Witten Group. I had heard from the conservation agent in Hingham that they had recently worked with Horsley Witten Group and they had a large scope of services. So I reached out to them. They quoted a recommended budget of $40,000 to $45,000 and recommended a timeline of around 18 to 20 months. And this would include reviews, edits, a conservation hearing or commission hearing or two, and preparations for a town meeting. And they were very helpful, so they like to work with the commission. The second group I reached out to was BSC Group. They reached back, they got back in touch and they said that for them, a reasonable bylaw revision budget would be somewhere on the order of $10,000 to $12,000 for a ballpark. They did state that there would need to be some more work on the commission's end to articulate what's not currently working under these current bylaws and regs and things that the commission would like to see added, but that a budget in that range would allow for a robust revision. They also recommended some other places for grant funding should we want to reach out for other grants. Still currently planning on looking into the Taunton River Stewardship Council community grant, which I believe caps out at $25,000 with either a match or in-kind match. And recently hearing from the town manager that there is funding from the town available to assist with this process. So might as well reach out for both. I'm going to be looking into scheduling a meeting with the town manager and likely the chair, Marilyn, myself, just to sort of get all of our ideas in one place, figure out how we want to best move forward with the town's budget, and then also for allocating grant funding. But I would just like to ask the commission to go through the bylaw, find any parts that you note you want updated and why, whether that's pulling from other towns with more recent robust bylaws and using as an example. If you find something in the bylaw or the regulations that contradicts itself, maybe it's listed twice, maybe it's not listed at all, and there needs to be clarification. And then I think that with updating the wetland bylaws, it's a really awesome opportunity to not only, because these were most recently updated 2006, I believe, with the regulation section.
The original 92.
Right. So not only could the town get their wetlands bylaw up to current date, but it could project forward. There's a chance here to be aggressive with protecting the town's natural resources, protecting the water supply, protecting the drinking water, protecting the wetlands habitats. As climate change is only going to progress, we're going to see more and more droughts. We're going to see more and more severe weather. And anyone in town can tell you that development is still happening. And with development, whether it slows down, increases, no matter what, having a strong, robust, improved wetland bylaw would significantly improve the commission's ability to protect its interests and its jurisdictional areas.
Absolutely, because our hands are tied in a lot of instances, especially, you know my thought with the ACAC area. It needs to be enhanced, greatly enhanced for the protection, and our hands are tied. They're held to the same standard of a 25-foot no-touch, which does not sit well with me. So, but again, I can't thank you enough. You have made great strides, you know, the town, the grants we're doing. I've got goosebumps now knowing that we've got this, you've got this going for us. And, you know, we'll keep you in touch once we have the meeting with Justin, get the third peer review. And then obviously we're going to, as we do that, you know, probably get the public, we'll need to get the public in too, because
Yes.
public input will also be crucial on this because we, like he couldn't have said it better. We need a robust remake of these bylaws.
Absolutely.
And you get your 2-to-1, baby.
I get my 2-to-1, yes.
So any thoughts, Deb?
No, I think like, I want to run this through a program to see if it comes up with redundancies.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, the risk was fines and that.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, prior to him, you know, when we thought we were able to do this, I know I sent you with the homework assignments to highlight it, but like Dan said, go through them good again. And,
Absolutely.
you know, because we're almost ready to rock and roll.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
absolutely. Great news. Thanks, Dan.
Of course.
Eileen, you on, is she gone?
Nope, she came back.
Okay, Eileen, any comments on the bylaw?
No, I'm
update?
back. I keep getting disconnected. I just can't wait to get it done.
Yep.
Need it
I-
desperately.
Yeah. So we're all thrilled. Thank you.
Of course. Yep. And then I will say I have already,
Good.
even before we started
Thank you,
this,
Jen.
of course, heard some recommendations from community members about potential bylaw updates and what they'd like to see. So I'll circle back, find those points that they sent over, suggestions, and we can start accumulating a list, a document, a master list of things we're looking for.
And that would give us a jump.
Sad.
So again, you know, anybody listening in the public, please continue to send emails into Dan. And by the way, I'm asking for a town email too, so we can assist Dan.
Yes.
He's checked in with IT. So, you know, between two towns, it's a lot of emails, but we want to be able to also respond to the public and take that in and give to Dan. So please continue to send in your request on what you'd like to see. And then once we get this in front of everybody, that gives you a jump too on the public stuff versus, you know, we have to take it in and then go look. So we could end up ahead of the game than we ever thought. So,
yeah,
yep. So great news.
Mhm.
And that's for better. Okay, so that leads us to just making sure I didn't skip anything. 17 great flags on bridges, 16, 10. D for minutes, no minutes.
Mhm.
And then, we have an E for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, Eileen, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye, we
Yes.
heard her. Aye.
Hi.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Cheers.